As requested, this is a tour of Fairy Garden North. This is a disclaimer. I'm a sloppy gardener. Although I have to tell you, the birds and the butterflies and the other little bugs seem to not mind it. Here's a nice little primrose and a daylily coming up. This is kind of to the west. There's some more real pretty pink primroses. Tulip coming up. Daffodils were over there. This was a little tree, Christmas tree, that had been in the classroom this year. There's our little rose tree. Some volunteers among the trees. I'm very much looking forward to the roses this year because I have been totally fertilizing them. Here's a little view, panning around. This was a rose tree for a while, but kind of got away from us. This used to be our Christmas tree last year. I towed it around. Now it has some solar lights, so I call it a fairy garden when it's not Christmas, and Christmas lights when it is Christmas. Petunias love the winter also. They're so cheerful and so pretty. That little log that I'm using as a plant holder was from a tree that had been in the backyard. It was a sycamore. Was it a sycamore or an elm? Anyway, volunteered, and it got old and died, and so we cut it down. I used to call it the sentry tree because the ravens would always perch on it and view the whole landscape. Now they have, after a few years, they have coped and have other little sentries. And there's a nice tall daffodil. This is the best spot in the whole world I've discovered. Very peaceful on that rocking chair. My morning coffee. Over here, this is the area that's going to have some very cheerful roses pretty soon. Those are little sweet smelling hyacinths, and those are little grape hyacinths that are very cheerful. They come up very early in the early spring. These little trees were in my classroom at Granite Hills year before last. I call that Emilio's tree because he loved it so much. More daffodils. I've tried growing various things down that little leafy alley. Well, I'll keep at it. More hyacinths. Going to be some tulips here for the first time. And this is where the candy land pink and white roses will be, and they're so pretty. They are so nice. So essentially, I put a lot of new bulbs in that area this year. This is Mendax Hill. He is one of my little silly gnomes. His name is Mendax because I was thinking of a name. I was writing a story, thinking of a name that meant storyteller. So I looked it up in Google Translate, and I thought maybe Latin. So it came up Mendax. I mean storyteller or liar, which sounds perfect. These interesting little daffodils are called Rip Van Winkle. And so when I planted them a few years ago, I was retired and just subbing. And so I didn't think I'd teach that story again, but here I've been teaching it 3 years in a row, so that's kind of cool. Here's some little, these are shamrocks from this year's classroom at Silverado, although we didn't celebrate St. Patrick's Day together because of the pandemic. This is Gnome Heart to honor our Scottish ancestors. who apparently were some pretty tough cookies. There's another nice daffodil still blooming on this March 28th. And this is a little sad. Here's my baseball gnome still waiting for opening day, which has been canceled because of the pandemic. Not forever though. Not forever. This is a little miniature rose bush, which is pretty cute. And I have some little hyacinths and an itty bitty anemone, which is awfully cute. And I enjoy it. These are some nice little violas. They also like the winter, which I think is pretty cool. That's going to be one of my roses. Can't wait. I believe it's red. Pansies love the morning. There's a little path. Someday I will put some little stones in there. This is my pot-o tulips that I just love. I just get so much enjoyment out of this. There's some primroses that have been waiting all winter for the tulips to bloom. Now they're very, very pleased that they're not alone. I love this one very much. Reminds me of some of the roses that you can have. There's some more grape hyacinth. It's really hard to get the beautiful purple color. Regular hyacinth. This is just some periwinkle that I didn't realize would propagate so easily. There's some ivy, which everybody knows propagates easily. That's one of my first plants I put up in this area in the front to the north. It's a rosemary that's just blooming and blooming. Yes, I need to put some water in there for the birds and the bees. Wait a minute. Is that a... No, that's not a fairy. That's just a cute little thing my sister gave me many years ago. Looks like a fairy. There's this one. In the fairy garden. So, as you go east of Mendax Hill, come to a whole little row of daffodils, little tiny ones. And they're just very pretty. These are actually jonquils. Jonquils have more than one bloom on a stem, but they look just like daffodils. They're very pretty. They're so pretty. There's a variety of them that bloom at different times. Here's some more primroses. That's going to be a daylily. They're going to be really, really, really pretty. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out. Some more roses coming up. This rose bush is called Don Juan, so I don't put it near the window. That's just a pretty little red one. We've had a lot of red tulips this year. You can, of course, buy them so you know for sure what color they're going to be. I didn't. Isn't that pretty? A little bit different color on that daffodil with some violas. This is going to be what I call the Dr. Seuss plant. I forget its name. It's tall in a blue ball and it looks just like it's a Dr. Seuss plant. And this is a dandelion. I'm letting them grow. I always do because they're the first little blossoms that the bees have to enjoy and to live on. And they're very healthy. You make dandelion tea and you can eat the leaves in a salad if you want. They got a little kick to them, but they're pretty good. This is a new area of daffodils and hyacinth. And this is called piñata rosebush. It can be so pretty. I love it. This is a bee balm bush that the bees really love. It is the balm to them, although it's actually spelled B-A-L-M. Okay. In the shade here, you can almost see the beautiful purple of the hyacinth, grape hyacinth. I think Monet would have loved those. As you know, I've been trying to grow a garden that Monet and Van Gogh would love, and I'm getting there. In the summer, we have such beautiful sunflowers last year. It was amazing. Okay, this is one of the original rose bushes we planted around 1980. It's Tropicana, it's purple. This was a little tiny, about 4-inch olive tree that Molly and I went to the museum, the Getty Museum, down in Malibu. They had some. There's some more daffodils, very pretty. These tall roses are yellow and they're really booming because I really fertilized them. And the smaller ones are various types of pink, which is very pretty too. This is one of my holly bushes, which is very cheerful at Christmas time. So cheerful. This is one of my new ones. This is called English holly. And it's cheerful also, which is of course why I have a garden, because it's cheerful. This is the palm that Janet gave me. Folks give me various things to grow, and sometimes I can manage, sometimes I really cannot. I try. So this is what I call Fairy Garden North. This isn't really the fairy garden, but it's so pretty I'm going to show you anyway. Got tulips, daffodils, hyacinth, got bee balm, rose bush, and in the bright sunlight in the morning, there's the iris that's coming up, which I'm very happy about. Irises are so hard to dig up. Their roots are rhizomes that they make great erosion preventers, which is one of the reasons I placed it up here about 3 years ago. Now we're just getting a real bumper crop. So as you could tell, my property is on a little bit of a hill. So stopping erosion is a good idea. So this is my little tour of the Fairy Garden North. I'm sitting down in my rocking chair. This is the most peaceful place. I'm thinking in part because of the oxygen from the trees, and plus it's just really pretty, really, really pretty. And I look forward not only to this time of year, but also to the spring. This rose bush has this purple flower. The roses on here are so sweet smelling, even more than Abraham Lincoln. So I look forward to sitting here in the springtime and enjoying my Christmas trees, even though it's going to be not Christmas. And the peace and quiet, not to mention the malarkey from Mendax.